Underwater. That's where I do my work. But one of the most harrowing jobs in my entire experience started 50 feet above the water, when I found myself in a helicopter circling over a sunken ship, which was loaded with deadly explosives. I had to get to that ship the hard way. Getting away from it later was to prove even harder. The job began with a frantic call to the office of Ed Harris, general manager of the Porter Construction Company.
Well, here it is. It's called the Mini K, converted freighter used as a floating construction base.
Yeah, looks like a good work ship.
Yeah, she was. Early this morning, she piled up in a fog bank on Torrey Reef. Right now, she's 60 feet down with her bottom sliced wide open.
Torrey Reef, let me see now. Where is that? That's, well, it's off the Channel Islands, isn't it? About, 100 miles out?
That's right. Yeah, I'll show you.
Let's see.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, by now, the Mini K may have slipped off the reef and broken up completely. That's so, we're too late. If not, she certainly will go the moment the prevailing westerly winds come in this afternoon and the currents change. Once that ship begins to break up, nothing up and down this coast will be safe for weeks, maybe months.
Huh? How do you mean? What was she carrying? Radioactive stuff?
No. 20 cans of nitritol. It's a new form of liquid nitro, tremendously powerful. Once that ship comes apart, and those cans begin to drift and scatter, have you any idea what a nightmare that would be? Each one of those cans is more devastating than a mine 100 times its size.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Nelson, we'll pay the limit. If you'll fly out there, get down into that hold, set a timer, and make sure that those cans are exploded out there harmlessly before that ship comes apart.
I swore I'd never get mixed up with liquid nitro again. And nitritol is worse. Could explode by itself. Well, I'm still down there. Well, of course, that would take care of your problem for you, wouldn't it?
Well, I grant you, Mr. Nelson, it could explode by itself in any one of a dozen ways, but what if it doesn't? That's what I have to think about. A ship with 1,000 passengers could hit one of those cans and be ripped apart just like that.
Well, that kid playing on the beach could pick one up and blow up 20 people as well as himself. Where's your plane? I started out to the wreck in a helicopter. Harris had been trying to get an amphibian plane to take me out and bring me back, but so far this was the best thing that he had come up with. The big problem was that it wouldn't be able to touch down on the water. We reached Torrey Reef within a half an hour. A lot of disturbance in the water where bubbles were still rising from the ship. So I figured that we had the right spot. Surface vessels were giving it a wide berth. There was only one way to get where I was going. The impact left me breathless, but I was down safely. The helicopter made another turn and came in with my improvised supply base. The moment I pulled the ripcord, it began to open up. It was a special type of rubber raft with a hooded top and a unique boarding platform. My tanks, weight belt, and other items were all inside. We had picked the right spot. The ship lay on a fairly even keel on the reef. How long it would stay that way was anybody's guess. I tied off the raft to the wreck and sent up a marker buoy. I had one vitally important thing to do next, to take the water temperature. Nitritol is safe when kept below 50 degrees. Over that, anything can happen at the slightest jolt. 56 degrees. The nitritol was deadly. But I was committed to the job. I began to hunt for the special cabin in which the explosive was carried. As I swam into the corridor, I caught my breath. In front of me, bobbing against the ceiling, was a can of nitritol, floating loose. I got my hands on it as quickly as I could. I moved gently down the corridor, taking care not to bump into anything. The thermostat control on the outside wall confirmed that this was the right cabin. I moved inside. There were other explosives in here too, but I knew that they were not as dangerous as nitritol. There it was, a special rack with a series of sections, one for each of the nitritol cans, and each one of them capable of blowing everything, including me, to kingdom come at any moment. I tried not to think about it. I carefully restored the one that I'd picked up. 5 more were still missing. I closed the rack firmly. Deep inside the ship, I had no way of knowing it, but Ed Harris had just received an alarming report. The winds were beginning to pick up sooner than expected. He thought about it carefully, then decided that my mission would have to be cut short. His only contact with me was the helicopter cruising overhead.
Buzz down on Nelson the moment he surfaces. Signal to him to paddle clear as fast and as far as he can, whether he's finished or not. No, I haven't yet located an amphibian plane. Just keep circling as long as you possibly can. Out.
I was checking the deck when instinct warned me to turn, and just in time. How it had worked its way up through the ventilator without exploding was a real miracle.
All right, Lou. You won't do Nelson any good by running out of gas and falling into the ocean. Come on in.
I had been searching a newly sunken ship for cans of a dangerous explosive, nitrotol, which had floated free in the wreck. Now I had run out of air and surfaced to change my tanks. The helicopter was gone. I fondly hoped that it was because an amphibian plane was on the way to take me out of there.
Oh, what about that amphibian plane? Yes, keep trying, keep trying.
With full tanks now, I went below to resume my search.
Harris here. Good. How long will it take the amphibian to refuel? Good. No, don't send him up here. Send him directly out to Torrey Reef. Yeah, I'll brief him on the radio. Yes, with an amphibian plane now, there'll be a chance. Well, that pilot won't have much time for searching. He'll have to move fast and keep a sharp eye. Right.
It took me a long time before I found the next nitrotol can, in a very precarious perch. Now there was only one more bomb to go, and luck delivered it to me at just the right time, because even as I found it, I took a breath and ran out of air. I didn't have enough hands to hold both of the bombs and switch on my emergency air supply at the same time. It happened just outside the cabin. With a heart-sickening crunch, the ship writhed on the reef as the changing current clawed at her. The jolt spilled me, but my only thought was to hold onto those bombs, and somehow I did. Then, under the double pressure of anxiety and failing air, I placed those last 2 bombs in the rack and closed it firmly. I froze as I heard the rumble beginning again. By now, I was so short on air that I had no time to rig a detonator to explode the nitritol. I'd have to make another trip down for that. No amphibian. I was exhausted now. I would have to rest before diving again. I was too tired even to worry about the plane. I had no more air tanks, so I hyperventilated in order to skin dive down and back to accomplish my mission. I had only one thought: get below, set that timer, then get out. After that, I could worry about being picked up. I had set the timer to allow myself 25 minutes. That seemed ample to let me reach the raft and paddle clear. But the long strain of underwater work had dulled my senses. I hadn't considered how weary I might be. As my mind began to clear, I realized that I should have set the timer for a much longer period. Now there was no interval for the rest that I needed desperately. I picked up the paddle and drove my muscles into action again. When that nitritol went up, it could blast everything for a quarter of a mile around. I dug water desperately.
Well, that raft is a bright yellow. You should be able to see it. Yes, I know the tricks that water surface plays on visibility. Well, why don't you try to spot the outline of the ship? That might help. Just keep searching.
It seemed as though I'd been paddling forever. I looked back. I could still see the marker buoy over the wreck. I was still barely on the outer edge of the explosion area. Tired as I was, I knew that I had paddled much further than that. Then I realized what was happening. The afternoon currents had set in, and I was caught on them. The raft was being carried backwards. It would take every ounce of what little strength I had left just to hold my position, if I could do that much. I was losing the fight. The currents were too powerful. I was being pushed back steadily into the heart of the explosion area. Then I saw the amphibian. Harris had come through. It had banked and was at a steep angle. He had seen me, I thought. I was behind him now. He would never see me. I plunged inside the raft, hoping to find something in its equipment that would help. My hand hit a very pistol. We're sure close.
You're not kidding.
Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is fun and adventure for young and old, but it can be dangerous. So know the sport well and don't take any chances. Be with you next week for another exciting sea hunt.